just doing a bit of energy clearing, and it's actually what I want to talk a bit about. So I started a blog. It's something that I had been wanting to do for pretty much forever, but I did not have the platform, I did not have the practice or the confidence, and so quite a few years have gone by, but I finally did it. I started it in March, and this video is actually about my latest blog post. You can find the link in the description, where I talk about the life-changing event that happened when I felt like I was in a really difficult space. I didn't know how to change things. I didn't know how to move forward, and so I asked the universe for help. And that help arrived in very unexpected ways. Some were quite mystical, like introducing me to oracle cards for the very first time. That was wonderful and very well received. But I did mention in this latest blog post that there was an event that was quite earth-shattering. It shook me to my core, and I can actually feel and hear my voice breaking as I'm talking about it, because it really was, it was devastating, and it was life-changing. It eventually led to the best change and best new reality that I could have ever hoped for, and far greater than I could have ever imagined. But the reality of what was happening in that very moment was devastating, and it actually happened right here, in this spot, in this chair that I'm sitting in, right here at my work desk, where there was this confrontation that happened with someone that I trusted with my whole heart and my whole life. And the conversation that we had, which I'm being so polite to call it a conversation, because it was, I'm not even going to talk about it. I have spoken about it before, but I just don't want to relive what that was. It affected me so deeply that I actually could not work at my desk for months. And following that conversation, I did actually end up leaving my job and my career. And it's not like I was ready to do it, but it felt like the universe was giving me the greatest kick in the butt to just do it, because I wasn't happy. And even though I didn't know exactly what I wanted to do, the guidance that I was getting back then was just get out. If you're not happy, if you're feeling drained and depleted and disrespected with where you are at, get out. Don't worry about what's going to come next, or how it's going to look, or how it's going to happen. Create the space and the magic will arrive. So I did end up leaving my career and wanting so badly to get started on a new one. I hadn't yet gotten the downloads for the things that I'm doing today. I was actually recovering from burnout. I had just entered my season of the dark night of the soul. So I was going through some intense inner work and healing and recovering. And what I found that was, whenever I sat down here to try to be productive, to try to make something happen, to create something, to apply for work, I just could not get myself to really get into it. Like, there was always this feeling of grief and trauma and just so much heaviness that was associated with being in this space, being in the very same spot where a heartbreaking conversation had taken place, and that rocked my world in the worst way, that shook me, that it felt like my entire life came crumbling down from the conversation that I had right here. And so I feel like that event that happened, that conversation, actually created this powerful and intense emotional memory of this physical space. So every time I came to sit down here, I was reminded of everything that I had experienced and the feelings that came up, and the fact that my life changed in ways that were so traumatizing. It was almost like my brain was associating sitting down to do work equates to heartbreak and misery. And so I really struggled to sit down here and to make something of my life. And I even feel like I'm being so hard on myself to say that, make something of myself. But that's just where I was at. I really wanted to move forward, and I really wanted to just move on to what was next. I wanted to move on to something that was better. I was so uncomfortable with being right here in the mess, in the misery, in the discomfort. And so there was actually a period of a few months where I stopped everything. I stopped creating, I stopped sitting at my desk and being on my laptop. I just associated this area of my home with dread and misery. And you know how books just have their way of being divinely guided to you when you most need it? I ended up coming across a book on space clearing. And this was talking about energetic space clearing, and I actually can't remember the name of the book. I just know that it was on the Hay House Empower You app. It was an audiobook that I was listening to. And so there's a whole library of audiobooks available on that app. And I guess I just can't keep track of every single book that I've read or listened to. But it was a book about space clearing, and specifically what I was learning was about the energy of the space and clearing past energies, clearing the influence of past experiences. And that was how I was able to eventually move through that very difficult phase that I was in by applying what I had learned in that book, using just a very simple incense like I am using right now, and holding the intention that you wish to clear the space of whatever energy that is stuck or stagnant and draining you. And if you have guides or angels or specific people that you like to work with and call for support and guidance, you can speak with them and work with them directly as well. That is one way to clear the space that feels difficult. I also used a Tibetan singing bowl. So the sound from this singing bowl creates a cleansing effect on the environment, not just the exact spot where it's being played, but basically every area that can experience its sound and vibration, that will get cleansed as well. And another thing that I did was decluttering my laptop. So more than a year had passed where I was still really struggling to move on and to feel encouraged and motivated to start working on something new. And that book also spoke about decluttering your devices. And when I went into my laptop and looked at my downloads, I was horrified by what I saw. I still had documents and videos and photos that were all related to the job that I was in, where I was not happy at all. I had so much evidence on my laptop of a version of me and a version of reality that made me so unhappy. And I kept it. Why? I don't know. So I spent a few hours cleaning out my laptop and making sure that I only held on to things from a place of empowerment and from a place of inspiration. Anything that made me feel bad about myself or made me feel stuck or just unnecessarily heavy because it's associated to a past that has been so painful and which I have totally moved on from, that I just let it go, let it go. It's so amazing how this energy work and this digital decluttering can create such great shifts and changes for you that quite quickly, once I did that, like I think I spent a whole weekend just clearing the space here at my desk. And by the next week, I was already getting back into being creative, into thinking about what is it that I want to do, looking at different opportunities. I started to take courses and to learn new skills. So it's not like I was very busy actively creating and building something, but I was doing the prep work to eventually get there. And that motivation and inspiration came back to sit here and to be at my desk and to feel comfortable and to create a new path and a new reality despite what had happened here that made me feel like my life and my world had come to an end. Space clearing can be so powerful. And so if this is something that you feel like you need, perhaps you had a difficult experience that happened in a very specific place in your home or just some place that you go to often, try these things, try these tools that I mentioned. And if you don't even have tools, if that's just not possible for you to access right now, you can just use your mind. You can use your hands. You can literally like wave your hands and say, I am setting the intention to clear this space and this energy of past influences and experiences that do not serve me. You can do that. Or if this is feeling a bit too much for you, you can just be still in that space and close your eyes and say a prayer if you want. Speak to the universe, speak to the higher power that you believe in. Ask for the space and the energy to be cleared of whatever is heavy and harmful to you. And I promise you, it works. This stuff works. If you try it, when something miraculous happens, I want to know about it. Let me know. And just remember, sometimes the miracle will arrive being disguised as something really not great, something really dreadful. Just know that if that is something that ever does happen, it is happening so that you can get the motivation to get out of whatever situation or relationship or experience that does not deserve you. It usually has to be over the top and really painful in order to get us to just wake up and say, hey, I deserve better. I will not stand for this. It takes a lot for us to move ourselves out of something that is not good for us. So just remember that the miracle is always there. It just may not look like sparkles in the air. It may feel difficult and disorientating, but in the end, it is serving you for your highest good. I hope that this helps you, and I will see you again soon.